Hello and welcome to Northwestern Ontario Voices. I'm Leanne Fabro and Andy Scribilo is with me today, and he is the president of the Kenora District Chamber of Commerce. Glad you're here.
Thank you, Leanne.
We have some things to talk about. So the first thing, and we had touched on this just before cameras started rolling, the business community of Kenora, and of course all over Canada, everyone was hit hard with the COVID pandemic. So maybe can you just share a little bit about some of the struggles that you went through and how you've adapted and you've survived, basically.
We have, and actually through COVID, we were very much tried to be in front of it, dealing with our federal people and our provincial.
Right.
To work for it was scary. Nobody knew what was going to happen, because if everybody in the beginning thought if you got it, you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was closed. Everything was at a bare minimum for everybody. We were all working from home.
Mm-hmm.
Our businesses were virtually shut down for a time period. And it was really difficult getting used to that and be able to transform to having an income and a revenue generation. And it all kind of morphed into when the government came out with CERB and then the wage subsidy and then rent subsidy. So there was a lot of money being thrown at it to try and make people survive.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, we were very close to all of our members during this, and they were very concerned, and you and I talked. It was very quiet. Our whole community, and I remember doing interviews on the radio saying, you know what, everything is quiet. We have to be careful.
You said the quiet is scary.
And nobody was
spooky.
talking. And I mean, at that point in time, we started calling our members and non-members and to do a health and wellness check,
Mm-hmm.
not only for them, but their neighbors, is to see how they were surviving, because a lot of people didn't say they were doing bad.
No.
They stuck it out and survived of whatever they could, whether shopping at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, staying away from people, wearing a mask, the hand sanitizers. It was really scary when we look back on it. And from a business perspective, it really hurt us.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you generate your revenue? How do you get income? And as a business person, I mean, just myself, again, teaching, Zoom sessions, holy cow, you do what you can, but having the chamber and knowing this, I mean, I'm just learning this now. So. And
in fact, lots of the businesses really morphed into how they could get people shopping, whether it be curbside pickup, whether it be, and they learned, this was a really tough thrown into it, because some people weren't used to shopping by the internet, shopping by Amazon.
True.
Which really hurt a lot of the bricks and mortars, because people buying dog food from Amazon and having it delivered. I mean,
wow.
It was really tough on a lot of the businesses. Mm-hmm. A lot of them transformed into Facebook, shopping on Facebook.
Right.
for clothing. Ordering pizzas and they deliver a couple of beer with it. And the government really played into this before that was a taboo.
Right.
of delivering alcohol.
But government would have to adapt as well.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So it made it so that people could survive, that and have those little luxuries, because that's what they are. Staying at home, watching TV, Zoom meetings. We transitioned into that, and some of us, myself, not used to that, but after 2 years of being on Zoom, even we do it today. Our meetings, if people can't come in for a meeting, come on by Zoom.
It's normal.
It is
now.
normal. Sit on your couch, open your laptop, have your chips and pop, and we have people doing that. They're at home with their children. Their kids are there. They're maintaining a meeting. It's just the way of doing business today. I mean, it's not right or wrong. I mean, you want the people.
Yeah.
You want the people to be involved, and that's some of the ways we have to transition into this. So it's a mindset.
Well, and it becomes quite unique, and that's again, there are the unique challenges. And I mean, for our region, you know, maybe Kenora compared to other cities, like what were the challenges?
Well, in fact, when I deal with the Chamber of Commerce in Ontario and the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, and that's across Canada, they were having the same issues, except for in the cities there was a larger access to Grubhub and
Right.
you know, delivering to the house. It actually transformed in Kenora because we have 3, 4, 5 services now that deliver.
Sure we do.
We'll
yeah.
go get your groceries, we'll deliver them. You want alcohol, we'll deliver it. So that way of it, people have got in comfort, so they're at home and they can call up and groceries to Safeways and No Frills. They order their groceries
Yep.
and can have them delivered. Like I'll have eggs and bacon and some grapes and away
Simple
you
as
go.
that.
Yeah, and as simple as that.
Right.
It's a different way of doing business. I mean, we still like the face-to-face. You know, I had a meeting today. There's nothing better than sitting around the table talking face-to-face of issues going on.
I agree.
And that is nice, but in the time when the pandemic, it's like it's history now. And it stung, like there's no doubt it was not a good time for people. But we adapted. And like I was telling you, when things are quiet, we had our chamber manager call all the people to see how they were doing.
Right.
We started community forums for people to call in and share what's happening with them. Or areas that we could say, hey, you know what? You don't have to shut down. You can get these subsidies, you know. And
That's great.
it really helped a lot of them because you just don't know. Everything's shut down and what do you do?
Well, most people kind of panic. you
And
know?
they did. I mean, I look back at it now and go, holy God, like it was a serious time. I mean, with the chamber, we're very lucky. We got to be a rapid test, antigen test. We handed out to all of our businesses.
You
And
mentioned that.
and we're still getting rid of the last of it. We ran out one Christmas 2 years ago or a year ago. Scared the crap out of us. Scared the bejesus out of us.
Right.
And you know, these businesses couldn't operate without having these rapid tests.
Right.
So you know, it really got to us and saying like, how did we run out? Because just before Christmas, everything went nuts. Everybody's doing work, contractors, and they had to be tested before they went in. So we really upped the ante. We made sure we weren't going to run out. So our businesses were going to be taken care of. So we put another order in. It came in early January, and we really fulfilled everybody that needed it. It was there for them.
And that's part of the peace of mind, I think. It doesn't matter,
Big
like
time.
you said, Kenora, a city the size of Kenora or a city the size of Toronto, you know, as long as people get that support.
And that's absolutely true because it gives you a peace of mind. I mean, even today, we're not out of COVID. Like so many people I talk to in businesses, and they're a little more upfront with it. One person gets sick, go home or don't come in, just in case. Got one person comes into the office, you're all infected. I know I had COVID. I really don't ever want to get it again. I've got diabetes, and it's not that I was going to die. It's just something you don't like to get.
See, I was lucky, knock on wood, and you know.
And there are some people, and that's still what they're finding. You know, I had a buddy who was in a coma for a couple months, and he got it so bad on an incubator, like, and you're touch and go of what happens. And it really, when close friends get it and they're bad, it really makes you stand up to say, you know what, I've got to get the COVID shots. And you know, I wear masks, you know, wearing masks for 2 years, the flu was non-existent.
Exactly.
You weren't sick. And you know, the one time I didn't wear a mask getting something, I got COVID.
Interesting.
Yes. And just by chance, I guess. I don't know. It's
Well, and that's part of it too, you know, like seasonal, for instance. It's like, ooh, it's summer, and Kenora is big for tourism. So it's like, do we wear a mask in the summer? But again, the tourism angle, that's actually something else we can address. I mean, COVID, like you said, it's going to stay. It's not going away. but, you know, tourism around here, the mill is gone, so now it's like tourism is our thing. So, like, that's begun pretty much now. So, what happens with that? With how does the chamber get involved with our tourism?
Our tourism, we work with the city. We used to have a tourism committee. We don't anymore. That we worked hand in hand.
Okay.
The tourism part for the chamber is recommending places. People come in, make it available where they want to go, or what they want to do. I mean, we support all of our businesses, our resorts, our tourist initiatives of
Yes.
renting canoes and boats and whatever. So from a tourist point of view, we're still mindful to say, you know what, don't be embarrassed if you wear a mask. There's
Okay.
still lots of people's.
Okay.
The hand sanitizer, we still supply that. At our home show, we had a full complement. If you want to wear a mask, go ahead.
Okay.
There's hand sanitizers there. So it's not gone away. But our tourists coming into town, we have to give them an opportunity to be tourists again. Years ago, we did a open air market, and in 2 days, we brought in over 5,000 people on Main Street. We
Wow.
shut down Main Street. Happiest people ever, had a pocket full of money, and we had 50 vendors on Main Street. They just let loose.
I remember that.
Honestly, and today, the apprehension is still there. We're still welcoming our guests in from the west and from the south. So if they have any questions, I still do interviews on CTV, on Global. So I'm still doing interviews in Winnipeg to make sure, you know what, that they are welcome. This is
Beautiful.
a tourism industry in Kenora. People should be happy. They're a little bit taken back by what's happening in Kenora right now. So working with the city, I'm working with a lot of the agencies to see what we can do to take that threat level down of what's going on. Our businesses are locked right now for the majority. Chamber's no different. I've got some young ladies working in the office, and I don't take the chance because there's always somebody pulling on the door.
True.
So it's not, and I've dealt with, you know, the Nancys and Island Girl and Playa de Vida. It's apprehensive. Spirit Oak, they're apprehensive when they hear that door open, and they just don't know what's
You
there.
don't know what's on the other side.
And a few years ago, you didn't have to worry about that. For whatever reason, it wasn't a thought. But speaking to them, you got to be careful today. And you know what? Be aware of your surroundings, of what's going on. Do I go downtown at night? No, I don't. I go out for dinner. We're back out of town by 8 o'clock. And it's not a fear level. It's just the apprehension. You don't know what can happen.
True.
And we have to work on that. I'm going this week to the Nietzsche Center to talk about safety in the community, how we make things safer, how people feel safer. It's hard to put your finger on what safety is.
True. It's different for everybody.
Absolutely. It's how you feel. Do you feel safe going downtown, that you're not always looking over your shoulder? So these are new issues brought on by COVID or the last years of what's going on. And an open mind, non-judgmental when we go to these meetings, and you get to say your piece. So it's how you feel of what's going on.
Okay.
So it's very good. I'm inviting part of our business community to come out so they can see what's going on there. And it's good because if you don't know something, find out about it.
Ask.
Yeah, come in
Yep.
and
Use your voice.
and sit and talk, you know, and it's not as scary as you think it is, but you may have the solution for them
True.
or part of it for what's going on. I mean, people don't like what's going on, but we're going to have to get to the next step of how we're going to deal with it.
Well, and that's all these different issues. And of course, Northwestern Ontario Voices, Kenora, we focus on exploring all the different issues that impact a community. So issues, right? You know, we had talked about that prior to rolling and recording, But what do you think, maybe let's isolate the top maybe 3 issues that are facing the business community?
Top 3 right now. First one's going to be employment. We can't find workers. I hear this from our service industry, restaurants, all over the place, boat centers. So we cannot, and I was in the job bank downtown into LEAP. There's hundreds of jobs in there. People, and myself included, I went in looking for a manager. We didn't get one application in 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and these are good paying jobs. So getting the employment back, and when I say that, we got a call today. We're going to be having a meeting with the federal government out of Manitoba that deals with foreign workers on the right way to do the applications. And there's lots of businesses in town. We write letters in support of foreign workers, and to get the right process, because if you do the wrong one, you're waiting for years. It's not going through. And she was very good today. She's coming to Kenora, I believe June 20th or 21st. We'll be putting a notice out for businesses and to find out how we go that route.
See, that's great.
And that's just something new. You know what? I brought it up at my last Ontario meeting, Ontario Chamber, and it was like I had 2 heads.
Oh,
and
geez.
everybody's in the same boat. And it was funny. I got traction after that. Like, it went all the way through to Thunder Bay, and then the president, Charla, in Thunder Bay sent me a contact name. So it goes in circles, and I'm going to share this, not before I get what I want out of it. And we have counterparts that we don't even know that's there on the provincial government that is supposed to be working. And believe it or not, Kenora's the end of the West. She takes care of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Kenora.
Okay. Oh my.
So I'm going to share with our people in Dryden, Fort Francis, Red Lake, Sioux Narrows, Nestor Falls. So when we find out the right things of what to do, and they're going to be invited to these, she's coming down for 2 days to talk individually, give an overall, and then a one-on-one with businesses of what they need to do.
That's fantastic.
It today just blew. That was a great day. Started at 10 o'clock this morning, and she's so energetic and going to travel from Winnipeg whenever we need her. That's the good things, and we need to start reaching out of our little area, because it's a big world out there, and people know so much more than we do. And you're fighting against it, and she's got some of the answers right at her fingertips.
Well, we said teamwork makes the dream work.
Yep.
And again, go beyond the box.
And that's what's happening. Our businesses are very frustrated here on how to get people. And I know I worked with a few. They got refused at immigration. And again, she said that's possible because whatever way they went, it may take a year or 2.
Wow.
To go through that process. But she had other process and procedures for these different types of jobs, like room cleaners and stuff like that, or engineering, or professional people. There's a different path again.
Yep. It's endless.
So we're really enthused about getting our businesses to come out to these, and it's not a one-time deal. She takes care of Kenora. We didn't know that. Yeah, and
thank you for the help. Yeah.
Well, exactly, and it puts us on, and it's going to help all of Northwestern Ontario.
For sure.
And get to the people that we should have been talking to, and we didn't know who they were. So she's going to find out her counterpart in Ontario to help us out on the provincial side. She's federal.
Of course, those are our levels, right?
Yes.
Municipal,
Yep.
goes up the food chain.
So, and that's where we are as a chamber, as a lobbying group, and finding out the rules and the regulations, and and bringing it forward. Like this year, we got 2 summer students, but and I'll tell you a little thing at the end. We thought it was a no-brainer getting 2 of them, and we find out then we just got enough funding for half of one. At the last minute after university's out. So yes, we are going to the federal government using Eric Malillo and saying, hey, listen, is there a way? We wrote a very nice letter saying, you know what, is there another way that we can help get funding? And it's not that we can't afford it, but I'm sure there's other businesses who can't.
Well, and you want to learn how to tap into that kind of thing. Why not?
Absolutely. And you know what? It's going to get more people working. And these younger people, maybe they're going to stay. You know, they find the right job they want to do. Maybe they're going to make this home.
True.
You know, the more people, we have a university student going away for the first time, we want him to come back, you know, to Kenora and do his whatever he's going into, a business degree. Don't want you staying in Ottawa or Toronto.
No.
Like, come back home. You can have a great lifestyle here, and it is a lifestyle, you know, of what's out here for the lake and, you know, golfing. There's
nature.
There's so many other things that
Right.
You'd miss being in a city. So
I've done both. So, and I think you know, the employment and how to get your revenue and your income happening. And again, it's like, okay, if we can't have people come in and work, you know, things like cost of living, that's something else that we had talked about.
yes,
Those are almost married together.
the problem in Kenora today, it's really hard to survive. And you know, I guess I'm fortunate. I worked 36 years and had a pension. But if I had to work in the industry today, it's really hard to live and make the choices of rent, food, gas, insurance.
And so many people are doing that.
Big time. And you know what? And they're not saying anything. This is the tough part where we've got to reach out into the community and say, they're struggling. Like, how do we help them? And I mean, that's our meetings with the federal government, the provincial government, of saying, you know, a head of lettuce is $8. Like, how do you feed your kids? You know, fresh fruit and vegetables, strawberries, $9 a pint. Like, we never saw that before.
No.
You know, on
No.
the food chain, and people really have to. And you know what? When you see them on for $4.99, you go, holy man!
I'll take that. I'm so happy. Well, and you and I had mentioned that too. It's like, you know, when I was younger, dating myself now, but I could put a quarter in a pop machine and get a pop. And you said, no matter how thirsty you are, now what's a pop? $3?
$3. I don't, and that's what we talked about. I can't, for my age, say I can go grocery shopping and buy stuff for $3.
Right.
And you know what? I'll have a glass of water when I get home.
Sure.
And I guess that's the mindset. But people, you know what? They're still buying it. Obviously, you know what? They're spending the $3 or $4. And it's tough to live at the end of the month when your disposable income is what you got to pay everything with.
Yes.
Is limited. And that's what we're finding here. To survive in Kenora, it's not easy by any means. Our really good paying jobs, like you said, the mill is gone. Our stud mill is gone, our sawmill. So we're relying on CP Rail, Hydro, Bell, the hospital. And a lot of those jobs, they've really cut back. I know I worked at Bell for 36 years. So the jobs are really being cut back because of technology is some of it.
True.
So, you know, we're bringing in fiber, we're bringing in, you know, fiber to the home. It's all luxuries, but it has a price to pay with it. And, you know, and I got 2 kids, thank God they both have good jobs for now. But the fact of saving for that rainy day and during the pandemic, you know what? That was the big thing. What did you have in reserves? And even with the businesses, when we talked, is the government said, oh yeah, we'll give you a loan, and as long as you pay it back. And today we're not finding that these businesses are getting that kind of revenue in to pay it back this December.
So you're kind of under a timeline.
Very much. I know the Chamber of Commerce through Ontario Chamber and the Canadian Chamber, they're going after the government to say, listen, our businesses are not thriving, they're surviving. The innovative ones, yeah, I guess they're doing okay, but you never hear that.
No.
You don't. And I mean, we're going to all of our businesses through the whole Northwest here soon, with our membership and marketing employee. So we're gonna hear something within a month or two.
And that's a good thing.
Of what's really happening, of how are you doing.
Well, transparency, and honesty, and it's like nobody knows you're struggling if you don't, again, use your voice.
Well, the problem is if you got to pay the money back and you can't, you now pay back the whole price. You don't get to save the ten or $20,000, and now you're paying interest on it. So what?
That's stressful. You'll never get out of the hole.
Never.
You know, and that's
Never.
that's another thing, the mental stress that people go through. And I mean, you know, where do they find the help? Chamber?
Well, and we're very much during the pandemic, not so much lately, but we were offering a path to services for mental health, for physical health, because everybody's physical health diminished, okay? Because you weren't getting out, you know, you were maybe going for a walk around the block, but you're sitting inside watching TV, and you know what? It's not a bowl of broccoli you're eating.
No, that's not usually the case.
And people's health really suffered on that, and it's and it's not over. You know what? We can't be naive enough to think I'm still worried about getting COVID. It's still there.
Oh, it's out there.
I mean, we're getting our shots for it, but it will probably always be there. I mean, there's when we hear them with COVID, lots of other good revolutionary things came out for cancer and for the different ailments. But there's no cure for COVID yet.
No. Will there ever be? Who knows?
And
right?
and you know what? It's like the flu. I don't ever want to say, oh, you got COVID, you just have the flu. It's not, because you're sick, and I can't imagine not having the shots and dealing with it. I mean, having 3 shots for COVID. I was sick. I was tired. You know, didn't want to eat. I mean, it didn't hurt me for not eating for 4 or 5 days.
Right. But again, it's like you said, mental and physical. And a lot of people don't know where to get help. They just kind of sit in it a lot of times.
If we can get the different avenues and agencies that they can call and talk to somebody. Talking to an automated service is really difficult because people are finding you just hang up on it now. So, and I know from the chamber perspective, now we get people calling from the States because United States, the Chamber of Commerce is very big.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Into tourism and to business ideas. So somebody from Illinois calls and says, hey, how's the fishing? Is the ice off the lake yet?
Oh my goodness.
So, you know, and it's just inquiring of what's going on, or where's a good camp to go to, or is there hotels to stay in?
That's awesome.
So, and you know, it's, people just get in the habit of that because that's what they're used to when they travel from state to state. They call the Chamber of Commerce.
That is so neat.
And
I just learned something.
And that's a great way of doing things. And I mean, where we want to be is information too. You know, oh, we can't give you this answer, but call this number over here. They can help you.
The guide.
Yeah, like a one-stop shopping. And our people, that's what they're there for, is to help them out and being involved to help push Kenora ahead. The business, not only the business community, all the residents too. You know what? If they've got questions, give us a call. I mean,
awesome. Well, and every city, including Kenora, has of course those key issues. We've touched on 2 or 3 of them at this point. But what do you think the progress looks like in how do we get there?
You know what? I know personally our mayor has come to our meetings in January and last month. We talk very frankly with the board of directors and our executive about what's happening in Kenora from his perspective, our perspective, and there's no secrets being kept. He tells us what he can. But it's very important we all work together. And we're not battling against one another, that somebody's doing something and, oh, we're going to try and outdo them. That's not what we need to do today. Is if there's a plan in place, like to build tourism or build our community, make it safer, attend these meetings. You know what?
Oh, absolutely.
To go and be open. And yes, it's uncomfortable. There's no doubt there's people different than you and different situations than you. But you'll learn how to understand what position they're in.
Right.
And the things they need when they address and say, hey, listen, I need help. we got to have a place to go.
And those are those steps. That
Yes.
is, even a baby step is still a step. It's progression, no matter what.
And that's what we need to do. And you know what, I will say, working with the mayor and councilors, we have to be on the same page of what's going on. We have major problems in Kenora. It's not a secret. It's not hidden. We've got to deal. Are we the only ones? No, but maybe we've got the solution to it. And you know what? To get rehabilitation or get life skills for these people, not so much, they have to learn how to live for some of them. They're just not used to it. It's things that we need to supply. And maybe it's knowledge or information. Some of it is just having that open heart and willingness to listen. And I, you know what, years ago, that wasn't me. Today, you got to listen, you know, and the last meeting I went to, 3 young girls want help. There's no place to get help. So we need, as a community, to work on that, to say, as soon as they stand up to say, hey, listen, I need a hand, there's got to be a place to go to lend a hand.
Definitely.
So that's the things we're working on today. And being involved in the community, that's the biggest thing. You know, you hear of all these meetings going on. Yeah, you got to pick and choose. But there's some that really need our attention. And you know what? Crying out for help. And I went there. I mean, something would I have done a few years ago? Maybe not, on occasion. Today, I make it a point when they have meetings, I go. And I want to drag some of my business people with me. Mayor and council should be going to listen. It's an issue in Kenora, and you need to listen to the people that are talking about it. It's a struggle, like it really is. Downtown is a struggle today, and it affects all of our businesses.
It affects everyone living in the community.
Absolutely. When you can't go shopping downtown or don't want to, you know, you're 80 years old living in one of the apartments and you go like, do I really need this or want this? It's not a chance you're going to take of walking downtown. And that's part of it when they say, you know, 80% of the community say it's unsafe. Got to listen to them. And I'm in touch with Jeff Duggan from the OPP. And they're trying, and you know, with the foot patrol being out and you know, knowing the police officers and you know what? I have an open door. I can go talk to Jeff. We talk about things in town and issues that are happening. They're struggling too. Like, it's not just it's the whole community.
Everybody trying to, again, it's like, you know, that working together part. And I mean, everybody has opinions but we can't just sit and have opinions. We can't just sit and rant and rave. And we all have to do our part.
There is solutions. And you know what? The ungodliest times, something will pop up at a meeting. I mean, from the weirdest ways. And you know what? Sometimes you got to try it. It's you don't know how it's going to. And I mean, part of this is, you know, we've been faced with a rehab center, you know, and helping people get to the next step. I believe in that, and I think a lot of other people do too. But we got to make it happen, because right now we have no real rehab in Kenora from all walks of life, from all demographics. It should be for everybody, whether you're a downtown street person or somebody living in Minto or wherever else. There's problems there too with this. So there's got to be an easy way to go in and not feel guilty about saying, you know what, I need a different way of life.
Well, yeah, we could go on and
Absolutely.
on about that, and of course that is, like you said, one key issue. So before we kind of wrap up, is there anything that you want to touch on or that we didn't touch on and get out into the big wide world?
I think there's a lot of things we're working on at the Chamber. We just finished the home show, which was another success. Actually, we started working on the one for next year already.
Oh my.
So we're getting ahead of it, just to make things more appealing to not only our Kenora people, but bring them in from Sioux Narrows, Nestor Falls, Dryden, Winnipeg. And we're looking at initiatives at maybe another open air market to bring the people out on a non-intrusive day where they can come out and relax walking downtown.
Yeah.
So working together in our community, this year we've been blessed with a new board, younger people,
Yes.
and really lots of new initiatives and ideas.
And that's exciting.
Very much so. You know what? I'm coming to my time. It's
been a
I had my
while.
day. People have new ideas. They do things differently. You know, for the new people we've got working in our office, they do things differently than I would. For all the years I worked, but I got to sit back and say, okay, you know what? We got to try it and see how it works. But how are you going to know until you let them do it?
Absolutely.
So with our community, you know what? The same attitude goes for all the other businesses and people working on it, is working together in coming up with solutions, because everybody knows we have problems. And every day you say there's problems, but how do you get to that next step of a solution? And that takes in everything. That takes in tourism. That takes
Right.
in the residents wanting to go shopping. It's the fun times, you know, of the Santa Claus parade, or
Yes.
or you know, Harbor Fest, or you know, the ice sculptures, and it's all about volunteers, where people have to feel energized again to get involved with that.
To participate.
And that's what it
Yep.
is getting people out and about again. So
I like the way you think.
it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. We were there before. We took a lull. You got to have the right people. We've got lots of young people who want to live in Kenora,
Right.
that want this to be home. They grew up here. They got to make a decent living to live here, and that's part of it. But this is home for their kids. Now they're having kids. So I'm sure they want them to build a career, build a lifestyle. Kenora's a lifestyle.
It definitely is.
It is.
Born and raised.
Me too. My kids, you know what? They're very much fishermen, hunters, the outdoors.
Outdoors.
Yeah. And you know what? You live a long, happy life when you're not being stressed out every day.
Very true.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
And getting out of stressing, like for our businesses, we have to give them some hope that there is a better tomorrow. But that hope comes with get involved.
Yes.
Okay? Like
That's the big
to
one.
sit back and say, oh, doom and gloom. Go out and see that it's not doom and gloom.
Right.
So
Perfect. Well, I'd like to thank you very much. This was a great conversation,
it's
Andy.
awesome.
I think so too.
It's almost like in a coffee shop.
Maybe next time we'll have coffee. All right. Thank you so much for being on
Thank
the
you.
show.
Nope.
Right. Northwestern Ontario Voices would like to close, and I'm Leanne Favreau. Good night.